Hey, welcome to Hometown History. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Domi.
This is part 3 of our story tonight on the Valencia. Tonight's title is Great Depression Punched York, but Valencia Ballroom dancers swayed to swing bands.
Yeah.
Again, please go back and watch part 1 and 2 of this series, but we're going to just jump right into the next part.
Yeah, we're jumping right into the Rainbow Grill. So the basement right now currently sits empty at the Valencia, but at one time it was a really poppin' place, and it was called the Rainbow Grill, and it was dug out in the 1930s renovation. The Tassi family wanted to accommodate more patrons, and by digging out this new dining space, they ended up adding an additional 400 people. That's huge. So speakers carried the music down to the basement. They pumped in the music. And at first the Tassias wanted to put in a bowling alley, which I think would have been really cool. But the demand for more table space was so high that the tables replaced the plans for the bowling alley. So obviously this was a really good problem to have for a business that you needed 400 additional seats.
Can you imagine all the servers they had to have had to serve all of the upstairs and 400 seats downstairs?
No, it's a lot.
Oh, that's crazy. So Martha Tassia was born in 1939. Her father was Peter Jr., so she was the granddaughter of the original founder. And her dad, Peter Jr., managed the Rainbow Grill. She was the oldest of 6 kids, and her father would take the kids to the Rainbow Grill to give her mother a much-needed break with 6 children. I can't imagine. So Martha would go in and play on the dance floor, or she would go on the steps in between the Valencia and the Rainbow Grill, while her brother helped take care of things like the heating and air conditioning.
And Martha didn't go to many of the performances out of her family's business, so she does remember one special night in particular, and it was her 10th birthday, and she got to hear Vaughn Monroe. And since the Valencia was a family affair, we asked her if she was groomed to help take over the family business, but she said no, she dreamed of being a nurse, and she achieved that goal. So she had some loftier goals than just taking over the family business.
She was very proud when she said it too. She's like, nope, I wanted to be a nurse, and I made it.
We love our healthcare workers. I love it.
So it makes us think about if you were going to start a family business, and a lot of people watching probably have you instilled that love to want to pass down to the next generation? Or are you more like a, hey, next gen, like you find your own path, like this will be an option for you, but I really want you to seek out what makes you happy?
And the Tassias had enough kids that they could have.
Right, yeah. The family pressure. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that leads us to the balcony and the blue room. So above where Jamie and I were speaking, we were on the stage, you could see the balcony, and back there is a room called the blue room, but it's not blue. So there's some patterns in the original terrazzo floors that are blue, but it's not painted blue like you'd think a blue room would be. So again, we see the Art Deco style in this room, and the room was mostly used for private parties that we're showing you here in the picture. There's 250 people packed into that room.
It's amazing.
That's a lot.
Look at that. Look at the elbow room.
I know. I feel like that's breaking some fire code today.
Did deodorant exist back then? I mean, they have air
Not
conditioning.
the way that it exists today.
Like antiperspirant.
Yeah, no, they had deodorant, but not antiperspirant.
Oh, goodness. Wow. So this space is still used today, but in a much different way. Because of my day job, I get to interact a lot with law enforcement. And so they opened up the Valencia to people like QRT, that's our quick response team. It's like a SWAT team, as well as here's some pictures of the sheriff's office.
This is so cool.
They were bringing in dogs to teach them how to sniff out bombs and drugs. And so since the Valencia mimics a house, but it has all these like nooks and crannies, they brought in actually like explosive technicians with real explosives and like hid them around for the dogs to practice. And I did ask, I'm like, how much explosives are we talking here?
Yeah.
Like just curious, because they need to bring in the authentic thing for the dogs to be able to smell it. And the technician said, she's like, if it exploded, it'd be like a pop off, like in
not
your
enough
hand.
to blow up the balcony.
No, she's like, no, nothing that serious.
Dancing on the main floor, bomb sniffing dogs on the balcony.
I think it just shows that a lot of our institutions can be multifaceted and serve multiple purposes. So on one hand, this is a huge space for entertaining, but it also is like a public safety, training center too, in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. So then the walls grow silent and we come to the end of an era. So by the 1960s, the big bands gave way to rock and roll, and televisions blared in living rooms, and that reduced the pull toward going to see live music acts. So Jim McClure, our silent third partner that is not here tonight, pointed out that people walked to the Valencia in their evening wear during the Great Depression and World War II, but by the 1950s, urban sprawl attracted city visitors. So instead they went to drive-in theaters, bowling alleys, and shopping centers. So maybe they should have put that bowling alley in the basement.
Yeah, right? Would have still been around. In 1960, the Tassias decided to close the doors to the Valencia. We asked Martha Tassia if she was saddened by the sale of her family's business, and she responded in the negative. She said it was the end of the big band era. The decision was made to close, and it was time. Oops, let me go back.
So it sat vacant for 13 years, but the Tassias finally agreed to sell the building in 1973, and a group purchased it, and they converted it into the ballroom into a church, complete with rows of wooden pews. So we have a picture for you of what it would have looked like, and then it was later purchased and converted into a social club called the Dutch Club, and it was bought for about $175,000. You can tell I didn't do good in math class. And they hired Kinsley Construction to undertake a $1.2 million renovation in 1989. So unfortunately, it didn't have support from its members, driving it to financial problems.
Bob Kinsley ended up purchasing it in 1990. He was able to renovate and then preserve this historic site. Valencia was later managed by the Acamac, then the Altland House Hospitality Group, and now it's the White Rose Restaurant Group. And thank you for liking cats and being super chill.
Say hi to our baby. Hello.
It's Phoebe.
I love Phoebe.
Phoebe is a lover, and she will sit on your lap any chance you get.
This is my niece. So we have more uses on how the Valencia is used today. So it's widely used for weddings, luncheons, and high school proms. And when we were promoting this episode, that was the response I was getting from a lot of people. There's a lot of fond memories of proms. And today we were, well, not today, but last week we were there for a fundraiser. And one of our most important things in the York City is our history center and the institutions in our county. So close to 160 people came out to hear Jamie and I talk at the Valencia, which we thought was super cool.
Yeah.
And it all benefited the York County History Center. And it was a fundraiser for them. So we just thought that was, you know, a great way to parlay our success from hometown history and help something that's near and dear to us.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so much fun. So now that we're at the end of part 3, we want to revisit the takeaways of what you can remember from the Valencia. The first is that it really was more than just a place to dance and listen to music. It sold magic and it sold an experience, and that's because the Tassias were really all-encompassing and thought as large business owners. Mm-hmm. It leads us to number 2. We really have the commitment to business owners to thank for this. First the Tassias, then the Kinsleys for keeping it alive in an amazing space in our community. And finally, you know, the Valencia was built during the Great Depression, and it thrived. People visited and people wanted to go to it. And so it shows us that even during times of extreme economic downturns, we can still create and we can still innovate.
Absolutely. So now we're going to bore you with talks about our upcoming schedule because it's jammed packed. Yeah. So in the spring and summer, we're going to be at the South Central PA Genealogical Society, the Mifflin House, Civil War Days, which is run by the York County History Center, and then we're going to have a tap talk, and then in the fall we'll be at Ollie, the Yorktown Hotel, the Appel Center, and the PA Historical Association Conference. So you're going to have plenty of opportunities to see Jamie and I on your screen or in person.
Learning about fun history. So thank you for tuning in to the Valencia. We hope you learned something new. Yeah. Please share, please comment. Domi and I do not get paid for this. We just do it because we love history. Yes. So help us spread history. Share these videos when you're with your family next time you're walking downtown. You can point out some things and teach them something new.
Thank you, everybody.